This is Eileen Bang Bang from my home with my niece, Margaret Ann Hickey, Maggie.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello to the digital world.
Hello to the digital world.
Welcome to my bedroom.
She's doing this from her home, her lovely home, just down the street from me in the hellhole we call Tribeca.
Some days it's so horrible living here.
Which days, Maggie?
No days.
Yes, and those are my paintings behind Maggie. You can show them.
We got two. We got two, and then there's one. I'll show you this one that's immediately like right in front of me.
Oh, wow.
This was a gift for my college graduation. It's called Lovely. See? I got all of this writing back here from the wonderful Eileen Hickey. It's a beautiful print piece.
And that painting was on the school bus card for the Lubbock, Texas library program 2 summers ago.
Do you have any of those cards? Did they give you like a bunch of them? Because I'd be interesting to see what it looked like on the card.
I thought I sent you one. I was just thinking that the other day.
Make a little note, and then next time I'm over, I'll look for one.
Note to self, library bus card. It's like a little credit card, and it's exactly that painting. And my friend Mariska was the head of the program, so that children who were disadvantaged could get a free bus ride to the library. And these are children who probably have never been on a bus or in a library. So I was really flattered and like thrilled to be part of this program. So they got a free ride. And actually, it was a great success. I think they had like quadruple registration than they ever had expected. And children went to the library by droves and discovered the joy of reading.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing, but too bad kids aren't on buses anymore and kids aren't in libraries anymore because the libraries are closed and nobody's taking the bus. So
it's sort of a historic moment, you're saying. Is that what you're saying, Maggie?
Yes, exactly. Yes. I have a library book that I've had since April that I have not been able to return. So I'm just considering it mine now at this point. I don't think they need it back.
You don't think the fines are, it's racking up the fines?
Yeah, like 2 cents a day, probably. I feel like the library fines are never that bad. I think there was one time where I had not returned something and then lost it. And this was probably back in high school or something. And I go to get a book out and they said, oh, you haven't returned a book since how many years ago? And I owed them something like $5 or $10. It was not astronomical by any means, you know. So,
well, I was very afraid of the librarians and not returning the book on time.
At just like the public libraries or at school?
At the public library, mostly. They're
never nice. They aren't nice people.
And no, they were very strict and they made you feel like very, very bad if you hadn't returned your book on time. And you were depriving other children and other people.
You were.
Not only were you a rule breaker.
Because they don't have like 100 other copies of the same exact book that have been, just thrown around and abused. Yeah.
There was a Peanuts cartoon strip where Charlie Brown lost his library book. And he couldn't find it. It went on for weeks and weeks. And finally he was writing letters to the librarians that were saying things like, please don't take my parents.
I love Charlie Brown.
And you know where he found the book?
Was it in the doghouse?
Good guess. Excellent guess, Margaret. Excellent guess. No, it was in the freezer. The freezer.
Great place, Fred. Great place.
So I'm very glad you have that painting and it has this history.
Yes. Good story behind it for sure. As with all your paintings have stories behind it.
Yes, they do. Yes. The one on the right behind you, that silver one.
That one.
It's my grid series. Yes. And it's right when I first started working with makeup. That's all eyeshadow in the middle.
Hold on.
Here,
I'll pick it up. Hold on. Get a really good view of it.
Miss Hickey.
I feel like it's good lighting in here. Let's see.
Oh, it is.
There
Maybe a little to the right. A little, keep going. Other way. Like,
there we go. Getting the window light.
That's why they're all those colors, because those are eyeshadow colors.
Yeah.
And then the silver was from my ex-boyfriend had worked for James Rosenquist, the very famous representational painter who had been a sign painter in New York City before he became a super famous artist. You know, he'd get up on the rigging, you know, on the scaffolding, and they'd actually really paint those billboards with huge paintbrushes like this big. I had one of those too, but you couldn't even lift it, especially if it had paint on it.
Yeah.
And he gave my ex-boyfriend a tin of silver powder, like aluminum powder, that they would use to mix in with the paint. So I made that silver paint, out of Jim Rosenquist.
Very cool. I love that painting. That's a good one. That was a housewarming gift, and now it's back. It's back with me. So
I'm very happy. It looks beautiful.
Wherever I go next. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And and the other little one is like that. I did that for your grandfather.
Yeah, this one's beautiful.
Yeah, I did that.
This is the last one. There we go.
That's
Right.
Daddy's rose.
Mm-hmm. It's like the perfect size too. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a bottle of champagne behind you on your side table?
Just taking a tour of the room here. Yeah, this is one of those really nice bottles. It's empty, but somehow I got the cork back in, and I just kept it because it's such a pretty bottle. It is really pretty.
It's a beauty.
Yep.
It's a beauty.
Yeah.
So you have a view out to a park.
I do have a view out to the park. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful thing because since I've been working from home, I started working from home back in March. And, you know, March and April, all the playgrounds were closed. So the park across the street has a playground. It's sprinkler. People can, you know, run laps. It's a circular park. And so in March and April, when the parks were closed, it was like dead silent. You don't hear anybody. I also live across the street, too, from an elementary school that has like a big outdoor yard that the kids play in. And so the first couple months at home, I'm like, this is really nice. You know, this is a good space to be working in. It's quiet. All of a sudden, you know, May and June comes around. All the playgrounds open up. And all I hear all day are just like kids screaming, like yelling at one another, frantic excitement just all day. And I'm like, wow, it's like having 20 kids all at once, you know, just very excited. So it's like the joyful children is really, it's fun to hear them. But when you're on a conference call and that's all you hear in the background, it's a little distracting. So.
Well, I wonder about the screaming.
Yes, and it's when the kids or like crying too. And I'm like, where is your caretaker? Where is your mother or father? Why are you still crying for 5 minutes? Like, I think it should stop by now. You know, someone should come get you. I mean, something could be seriously wrong, right? So that's why I kind of peek my eyes through the blinds and make sure, you know, nobody's being like dragged out of the park or anything. But a lot of excitement.
They're lucky to have you, Maggie. They're lucky to have you.
My little eyes through the blinds, you know. Yesterday during the storm, you know, it was a very weird storm in Manhattan because I feel like different parts, if you were in upper Manhattan, you got more rain. Down here, we had rain for maybe like an hour, 2 hours, and then it was just super windy.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just went outside and looked at all the people trying to walk down the street with the wind, and then seeing, you know, like plastic bags flying up in the air, like branches going crazy. I'm like, wow, you guys are really bracing yourself to go to Whole Foods or go to, you know, the Starbucks around the corner. I don't know why you just don't stay inside during a tropical storm, you know?
Yeah. Stay inside.
Stay inside. We're supposed to be staying inside anyway. Just
Stay
it's a
inside.
better excuse to stay inside.
Shelter at home.
Better excuse than the COVID.
50-mile-an-hour winds might be more serious.
Yeah.
More immediate
Yes.
than the COVID virus.
Mhm. More immediate, that's for sure.
Yes. Well, the super called me in East Hampton and he said, Eileen, I have to go in and take down your umbrella. I have to take your umbrella.
That umbrella is causing more harm than good, I swear.
So I came back and I found this. Actually, I was going to ask him to come by, but can you see what he did? Like,
Did he throw it on the ground? I can't even tell.
It's upside down. So like none of that deadly wind could get underneath it.
That umbrella would have caused so much harm if it was pulled out of the socket.
I know. I'm not sure I like that umbrella.
I'm not sure I like that umbrella either.
I know. I don't know.
It's a danger to us all.
Yeah. That's Billy's point of view. I certainly could imagine it crashing right through the window.
Yeah.
You know, my fancy neighbors recommended it, you know, but I'm wondering, like, does somebody run up on their rooftop? Do they have, like, hired help? Or is it maybe the nanny, just the nanny running up?
Watching the umbrella at all times of the day. No other purpose aside for the umbrella.
So now it's beautiful weather here.
I know, yeah, it's a great day.
Yes, I'm thinking of going for a walk. Post-podcast.
Post-podcast.
Yes.
Gonna cross the street.
Yes. And so Maggie is the daughter of my brother Dennis, who came here after I did. I like to think that it was to be with me.
I think it was. Not the partying or to get out of Buffalo in the cold. No, I think it was to hang out.
So
his older sister, his only older sister.
Yeah, big sis.
Big sis.
Yeah, I'm the boss.
You've always been the boss. I think we all know that. When you have two younger brothers, the stories I've heard, it's that entire household. I feel bad most likely for Uncle Mike, the youngest brother, just of the stories that Dad has told me of what he would do to Mike. But I'm sure you tortured the two of them plenty as well, you know.
I was only interested in what was best for them.
I get it. It's all out of love, right? It's always all out of love.
Actually, my parents were going to get corrective shoes for your father because when he was learning to walk, he kept falling inexplicably, you know, and unexplained. He'd be toddling along. He was very adorable, blonde, blue eyes. You know, he got it going. He'd get up, he'd get some momentum going, and bam, he'd fall.
For no
explanation.
No explanation.
So finally, one day, my mother, you know, in her super prescient way, you know, she used to say, "I have eyes in the back of my head, Eileen." She caught me tripping him.
You know what? There it is. Mom always knows.
I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like, if I could manage to shoot a foot out and trip him, I would laugh till there were tears coming down my face, like at Dennis lying on the ground. Really? And my mother going, Dennis.
What happened?
Hey. Sometimes I'd run over and say, "Are you okay?"
Oh, that's so evil. That is so evil.
You I really had made an appointment to go to the corrective shoe guy because that was the only explanation.
But you must have done it so many times. It's not like a handful. It's like every possible opportunity you had, you took it to trip your brother.
Yes. And one time I was home with Mom at 142 Summit. It was a big house with a second floor. And my mother and I were in the kitchen, and my brothers were allegedly upstairs. And we hear, "Oh, stop." This is Mike, Uncle Mike, my youngest brother. "Oh, Dennis, stop. Dennis, stop. Dennis, stop." My mother goes to me. She goes, so we crept up the back stairs, and there was Uncle Mike walking around his bed. Dennis was nowhere inside, walking around his bed, going, "Oh, Dennis, leave me alone." And then he'd hit the bed. "Oh, Dennis, don't hurt me."
Just trying to get him in trouble.
My mother snuck up on him and went, "Boo." One of the greatest moments of her life.
What's the age difference between Mike and my dad? 4 years?
2.
I feel like 2.
2.
And you and Dad are 8.
6.
6. Okay, so off by 2 ways. Okay.
Yes, there was a baby that was born that didn't live.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I had been misled. This is so great. You're going to have a playmate. It's so much fun having, a little sibling. Anyway, that baby died, and I can't believe we used to call Dennis the second Dennis.
I know, Dad. That was one of the first things Dad that I remember him telling me, that I was like, you're kind of taken aback by that, like you were the second. You were never meant to be the first. It's just, I have a picture of Dad and I. It's the one with the frame that you think that you possibly gave us. But just as a point of reference, how wonderful Dad is. And that's me.
Oh, it's
the resemblance. Yeah.
Oh, look at little Maggie.
Yeah, very cute.
Dad, my little brother.
Well, that reminds me of a story, because I have an older brother, and
yes,
as your parents were telling you, oh, it's going to be so great to have a younger sibling. You're going to have so much fun, a playmate. So what my parents had done to prepare my brother for having a little sister was get him a Cabbage Patch doll. And, Cabbage Patch dolls to begin with are terrifying, and I don't think you really want to play with one ever. Like, they're not cute dolls. So they give him this Cabbage Patch doll and say, okay, pretend this is going to be your new sister, hang out with her, whatever. I guess maybe a couple hours had passed. It had not been a long time. My parents were trying to figure out where the Cabbage Patch doll had gone. It had gone missing. What he had done with it was he stuck it in his baby porta potty, like his little toilet that he would go to the bathroom in, and shut the lid. Like, I don't want a baby sister. Flush it down the toilet, not for me. So that started off on a solid foot.
Maggie, I never heard that story.
Yeah, my mom likes to tell me that one, and it cracks me up because I can totally see my brother doing something like that. I mean, we were really good playmates and like good friends because we had a pretty relatively close age difference to one another. So he never actually physically, when I was born, shoved me into a toilet. So I can be grateful about that.
Or tripped you.
Exactly. I was the one that was probably doing the tripping, if anything. So,
well, there was one incident. Didn't you involving a ballpoint pen?
I think there might have been a few instances. I was obviously a little bit. My brother is, a very sensitive, loving, quiet, intelligent man, and I am a little bit more rambunctious and extroverted and kind of can be aggressive at some points. So I was the one that would always kind of push him around, so to speak. I think there might have been a few times where I'd bit him a little too hard, or maybe poked him with a pen or scratched him. Okay. I was a little bit more, he would scratch. I scratched a lot. I don't know what it was, but we've grown out of that. We're great now. No, good friends, hang out all the time.
Maggie, you stabbed him in the back with a ballpoint pen.
Well, I think we've gone over it. You know what? We seem to be doing okay now.
Yeah, what's the big deal? Jeez.
What's the big deal?
Some people make a big deal out of anything.
I know. It could have been way worse. A ballpoint pen, come on.
Keep it to yourself, The rest of us have problems too.
I know. But you gotta love it. It's so good having siblings, It's good to have someone you can always count on.
Yes, I feel that way about my brothers.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm very lucky. I feel very lucky. I hear all these stories of people who don't get along with their siblings. Mm-hmm. And it's always a terrible disaster. But I feel I get along with Mike and Dan.
Yeah. And our extended, the whole entire extended Hickey family is a good bunch. We got a lot of good apples in there. So
So what do you think is a good thing about being a Hickey? What's one of the good things about
I think we're all very loving people. I think we're happy people. We look on the bright side of life.
I agree with you.
And we love to have fun. We have a really good time every single time we're together. So
I think that's true.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the majority of the Hickeys are, in Buffalo. But when we do go up to Buffalo and we see them, it's always, chock full of adventure, chock full of laughs and drinks and, just good times all around. So,
yes.
Blessed to have a good family like that, We all get along. No real trouble.
Right. There's always fun to be had.
Always. Always. The past 2 times, I don't know, and this is, I feel like you were this close to coming up with us when Dad and I went up to Buffalo for John's 60th birthday, which falls on St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
And so they usually have this big parade I think it's on Elmwood. So it's not downtown Buffalo, but it's Elmwood Village. And this is right at the beginning of when the COVID crisis had basically started to really take hold of New York and just the country in general. And my dad and I were like, oh, we'll be fine. We should still go up anyway. Our offices hadn't closed yet. There were rarely any case. I don't think there were any cases in the Erie County at that point. And I feel like you could have come up with us, but you were in Florida.
In Florida.
There it is. The extended baby shower. Yes. So we had gone up, and this was only, it was really only like a 48-hour trip. It was super quick. We had gone up Saturday morning and came home Monday. But my one cousin, Sarah, who's a couple years older than me, so she's 28, I think, she throws this big party, like an entire big day drink party starting at like 10 a.m. And then they make their way down to the parade at like 1, and the party continues, and there's food, corned beef, like desserts, keg, beer pong, just like a party. And there's COVID. So it's kind of like, so what should we do? How do we make it so that people feel safe? And she had all of this, like every couple drinks, she would come over, like her and her friends would come over and say, okay, you have to have some Purell. And she'd like squirt the Purell on your hands and like run around. And then we'd go back to playing disgusting beer pong, like sharing cups. And it's like, okay. But it just goes to show, like, anytime we go up to Buffalo and we're with our family out there, it's always a lot of fun. It's always a good time. So
yes, it is. And I remember it that way too, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, though, when I grow up, I'm going to have friends that aren't just all my brothers and sisters, and I'm going to speak French.
Don't we all wish we spoke French, or at least, some other Romance language? Yeah.
And now in retrospect, I see the point. Bernice, Dad's brother and his wife and Mom, they would all get together every Saturday night.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody still in Buffalo still, I think, sees each other on a weekly basis. If not now, then they were previously.
The time. Yeah.
All the time. They have weekly dinners. They celebrate birthdays, parties. And it's upsetting that this year that we couldn't really go up to the beach, Long Beach, and see them, because we don't really, I see them maybe twice a year. So.
Right.
But.
Well, the last time I was there was for the joint wedding funeral.
That was also a very fun weekend, though, because somehow every night in Buffalo, all the bars are still open till 4, which is nice, and we somehow stayed out until 4 every single night we were there. And that was Thanksgiving. So you're not only drinking a lot until 4 p.m., but then you have to eat a lot as well. So you just come home feeling like an absolute piece of crap, really. That's what I felt like after that weekend.
That was the year I spent all Thanksgiving dinner throwing up.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you were ill. You were very ill. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we had been out, and I was.
Yeah, you did not just stay at home. Like, you wouldn't want to miss out on the fun.
No.
I think you were drinking a lot of, like, hot toddies, just like tea and whiskey.
Yes.
To heal your throat. Yeah.
I think I was. I think
you were. I was there.
Yes. I mean, the Hickeys are nothing if not solicitous, especially of a hangover.
Yeah. And my one uncle.
Like 14, Daddy one time took a look at me on a Sunday dinner. He looked at me and he said, "Here, drink this," and gave me a beer. He said, "You'll feel better."
It'll help. Yes. That's one of the funny things too. It's kind of like my one Uncle Scooter, always likes to keep count of how many beers I've had. I don't usually drink alcohol if we're out on the beach or, in Buffalo. I feel like that just will be dangerous considering how long we would be drinking for. So he always likes to keep count of how many beers I've had. And then the next morning, because I'll usually stay over at his house, he goes, "I don't understand how you could have drank so many beers and not be so hungover." I'm like, well, I am hungover, but all you got to do is start drinking again, and then I'll be okay.
Don't you know that, Scooter?
Don't you know? I mean, Scooter's had plenty of fun in his day. I'm sure he does know that.
Of all the people. So what's a bad thing about being a Hickey?
Probably the pressure to always have fun and to maybe always have, like, I feel like sometimes our family doesn't always, like, talk about maybe how they're feeling, or, like, we might glaze over certain emotions. I think that could be a negative sometimes because, I think we're all very sensitive people too. We all have our own feelings that we don't really bring to the table. We kind of hide them or maybe just glaze over it. And I think sometimes that can be a little bit harmful in a way that, if we keep things built up and don't discuss them with just like the entire family, it can be bad. But
yeah, I think that's a very smart comment.
Yeah, I think we're all very sensitive and just very, like, in tune with our own emotions and our own feelings, but sometimes we don't talk about them as a group, but all in all, I think we're all very positive people, happy people.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. your idea about looking on the bright side of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I do think it took Tommy Izzard 35 years to talk about when we used to lock him in the basement.
I do remember that story too. Yeah. Yeah. They're all out of all the stories I've heard, some of them from your childhood and just my father's, it's like those are traumatizing experiences. I for sure understand that. And just nobody talks about it. Yeah.
Well, for all you listeners, it's not exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, we're all not just like happy alcoholics. We're
like
very serious people.
There were there were 18 cousins counting the Izzards.
Yeah, big family.
And I would say it started with girls at the beginning, Patty, Mary Fran, Kathy, Susie, me. And then it switched to boys, a lot of boys.
Yeah.
There's this whole passel of little boys. And at all the family parties, they would, they'd start playing and fighting and
being boys.
So ultimately, everyone gave up, and we would lock them in the basement. And
go down there. We don't want you anymore.
and I told Maggie this one day. I said, and they were so terrible. We all agreed, adults and older children, mostly girls, agreed to lock the boys in the basement. Maggie went, "Oh my God, you would never do such a thing." And then I immediately found a picture, and I don't have it's
kind of like a terrifying picture, though. It's a little scary.
They all have little fake guns, and they're screaming and looking up the stairs and pointing the guns like they were at the top of the stairs.
Gotta find that photo. I remember looking at that. I was like, they are crazy young boys, high on adrenaline.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun together, and I think I miss having a large family around. People in and out of the house all the time. I like that a lot. And I was going to say one other thing that happened, but I can't remember what it was. Something about being locked in the basement.
It'll come back to you. I'm sure it will.
Yeah. I got distracted. I thought if I could find that picture, it'd be great. Well, what do you think? Let's see. I wrote you some questions. What questions?
Let's see what questions we got.
Yeah, let's see. About the great.
Oh, you asked me if I like my friends' families better. No. I the only true family that I've really got to know outside of my own. I don't even really know my friends' families that well. It's not, I think, as normal to know your friends' families as much as maybe in the past, because you might have been friends with neighbors that were in the area or whatever.
Yeah, maybe not New York. But in Buffalo, where you all lived in a house.
Yeah. I think I knew my friends' parents, but I didn't know their extended families, so to speak. But the only families that I had gotten really close to in terms of big families, one is Matt, my brother, his girlfriend, Chloe. I know pretty much their entire family just from after their many years of dating. They get involved in Thanksgiving or, Christmas and Easter, stuff like that. So you're constantly around them. And then also probably my ex-boyfriend, Corey, he had a huge family. He had 30 cousins. serious. His father was one of 10, and so multiple children, big family parties. Like they would always throw parties. So Christmas, I knew every single person in that family, and we had been dating for many years, and every single time I would see someone, I could not place a name to their face. I was like, I've met you now maybe 10 times, but they all look the same. They all have similar features. I'm like, you guys have similar names. I can't figure it out. But, and their family was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really love their family.
Yeah.
But in terms of my other friends, like I'm proud to be, a Hickey. I stand by true and true to us. So that's a funny question because I mean, I feel like that would be kind of sad if I loved someone else's family more than my own.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that.
Yeah.
I guess it's like when I was a kid, it's like, the grass is always greener, like those parents don't, punish that child, for.
Yeah, like you really just don't know. And I feel like
staying on the phone too long or whatever, whatever things a kid wants to do.
Yeah.
And the parents tell them they can't. Then you like the other child parents better that lets them do it, whatever it is.
I mean, when I was younger, probably there were certain friends that I had whose parents I thought were, cooler than mine or whatever. Yeah. One of the only, probably the best example I have is my elementary school friend from PS234, Graylin Eastwood. She had this, obviously her mother is a model and her father is the son of Clint Eastwood. So Clint Eastwood was her grandfather. And of course, me being, a 7-year-old girl, I have no idea. I don't care about those things. I just really liked her apartment. Her parents were like young and cool, and we'd always get pizza every time we went over. She lived in this beautiful like building on Broadway and off of White. And they had like 2 stories. It was one of those buildings where you got out of the elevator right into their like apartment. And I never thought anything of it, but if I had to say there was one family that I thought was cooler than mine, it was clearly going to be the Eastwood family. And I'm going to stand true to that one as well. So,
but they were cool.
They were cool. Yeah. Kyle Eastwood was a musician. He would play the guitar, and then the mother was absolutely gorgeous and walking around. I remember they had, we would always play dress up, and the one place out of the entire apartment that we were not allowed to go into, aside from their bedroom, was the front room, which faced Broadway, because that was like the nice living room. So they had all very clean furniture and like a piano and like this chaise lounge, like a day sofa or whatever they're called. I don't know, fancy. It was all white. But it was, they were a very cool family, and they still are a cool family. But
they were fun to be with.
Yeah.
When we used to have the birthday parties over on Pier 26.
Yeah, Pier 25. Mm-hmm.
25. Yeah, they were fun. I was always glad when they came.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more
good people. Good people. And very like down to earth, just got along well with everybody.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I loved our neighborhood where we lived, where I grew up. And like my parents used to have a drink every night and cheese and crackers, with the Steinwalds or the Sheehan's, whoever was the neighbors on either side or down the street.
Yeah, living in a house like that, you knew all your neighbors, and you knew all the kids on the block too. So all those kids were your friends. You grew up with them, and
yes, they'd sit on the front porch and have drinks every night, and a bowl of peanuts, and some cheese and crackers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
ritual, yeah.
I actually gave my parents an anniversary party, a wedding, because I actually have been making hors d'oeuvres and serving drinks since I was about 5 years old.
They put you to work early.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be part of the party.
Right. You want to be included.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I had little Manhattans when I was little. Not a
Once
hole.
again, the
Not
Hickeys.
a hole in it. But like, I remember, like, why shut her out, Yeah. And so I decided I was going to give them a surprise anniversary party, with all the neighbors who were always over anyway.
Yeah.
My mother said, please, Eileen, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Why she didn't want me to do it. But anyway, I had set my course,
Mhm.
Jerry Sheehan was helping me. And in those days, you used to make pictures of Manhattan
Whoa.
and pictures of martinis.
Yeah.
Those people had goddamn wooden legs. Holy moly, they could outdrink me
Yeah.
a day.
I'm sure. Whoa.
Holy moly. And maybe 2 pictures of Manhattans, for like 12 people or something. Like, holy moly. They had a good time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they did.
So we had a big parade around the neighborhood, I think carrying pictures of martinis.
To-go drinks, the original to-go drink.
To celebrate their wedding.
142 Summit Ave.
Yeah.
With it first.
142 Summit Avenue. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think about one of the first times that I always thought it would be really fun to be like a bartender or a waitress. And so at my brother's first communion party, I was the one behind the bar because we basically had the whole room to ourselves, and they would just give us like bottles of champagne.
It was the upstairs room at the club.
Yeah, it was the upstairs at the country club. And so I took over, and they gave us like a soda machine. They had like cans of soda and stuff. And so I was like, I'll be serving the drinks from now on. And I was making mimosas and, trying to make vodka sodas, but I'm sure they were extremely lethal, probably just straight vodka and a splash of club soda. But it's fun to kind of, pretend to be something when you're younger, like as an older, that exemplifies an older adult, a young adult. You want to be a bartender. I never was a bartender, but for that one day I was, and I think I did a pretty good job making everything very strong drinks. People like that.
You were in.
Yeah,
I
was.
You were in. Yes. Well, our grandfather, so your great grandfather, James Lawrence Hickey. That's why Larry's name Larry.
Lawrence, there it is. Makes sense.
And Scooter, our cousin Scooter, is James. Mm-hmm. But he used to scoot around the floor. And he still does. He's a fast mover. He
can't sit still. Yeah.
Cannot sit still.
Mm-hmm.
He's the man with a plan. Mm-hmm. And you actually have no choice but to follow and enroll in that plan. With everything in your
heart. You do not. To this day, you do not. You have no say in it whatsoever.
And he took the boat over from Ireland,
mm-hmm.
Around 1890 with his 10 older sisters.
Ooh.
I bet you don't know that, Maggie.
10 older sisters. Wow.
10, like every Sunday, Daddy'd say something like, yeah, let's get in the car and go visit Ava. Let's get in the car and go visit Gladys. All these old-fashioned names.
Mm-hmm.
Mamie. Let's go visit Mamie. Or let's go visit... Well, Mamie, he liked her. She was the one with the money. She married somebody rich. She had a house right across from Kleinhand's Music Hall.
Wow.
And that temple there, one of those big,
these
big, beautiful houses they have in Buffalo, from the turn of the century, when it was a big, glamorous place to be.
Big, glamorous, yes. In all America City.
Becoming one of the top 5 in America.
Mm-hmm.
The city of good neighbors.
Booming industry, yes.
Booming. Yeah, so we'd go and visit all these women, but I never knew who they were, Maggie. I never knew who he was talking about or who the hell we were going to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it would range from like somebody who was in a boarding house or who had a boarding house with like Irish bachelors who rented rooms from her. I didn't know who all these people were. But it was a lot of fun to go and visit them. It was always fun. They're always happy to see us. You know, we take like a cake or something and then eat it while we were there.
Yeah, of course. That's what it's meant for.
Oh, Mamie, and God, I wish I'm going to look. I want you to come over maybe for an hour or two here and there, and we can start going through all the photos I have.
And we can find the photo from the basement where the kids are locked in the basement.
Wait,
Count me in.
I think I can find that, but not sure. You know, they change it all the years. Let's see. I think I sent this to your dad.
I swear I've seen it before. I know I have. But
I did, because it was right after I told you that, and you went, "Oh, Eileen, that's terrible. You didn't lock those children in that basement."
And then you see the picture and you're like, I get why.
See, so I think I sent him to your dad like last fall. Months. East Hampton.
I feel like you got a lot of photos on that phone. It might be hard to
I know, but we'll give it like
through.
Oh, wait, I think I got it.
No
way.
Maybe you could type in the top, like, dark basement, and they'll populate. That's not the photo. That's
I know, but this is my mother.
Oh, yep.
That you look exactly like.
Mm-hmm. In the middle. Yep.
In the middle with her glasses and her bathing suit, her swim club.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, so I think I have the prisoners in the wait, I think we're getting there.
Prisoners in the basement.
Yeah. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It kills me.
And you see,
they're such bad boys. Oh my gosh. So that Mikey is the gun. I think that's Mikey.
Yes, not screaming. So I thought he was screaming to scare us. But then Dennis said he was screaming because he was afraid of what they were going to do to him.
That's too good. That's a classic photo.
It was so great to find that right after I'd been, met with utter disbelief by
yeah.
Oh, and look here they are.
Still a little unbelievable, but
here's my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And there we go. That's better. My brothers at my grade school graduation.
Oh, look how spiffy and cleaned up they look compared to that other photo.
Misleadingly. They were so cute. I couldn't decide which one was the cutest. So,
Both very cute. Both very cute.
Mommy's parents in Florida. In see if she has a year, usually.
So you have all of these photos in your apartment right now? Yes. Oof.
Because I knew if Dennis or Michael got them, I mean, we'd never see them again. They would vanish into the maws of whatever maws are.
Photo projects take a long time to kind of figure out.
I was trying to think what, here they are. Here's my favorite one. This is them. They're laughing. That was at my graduation.
Yeah.
It's still
That's a sweet brother photo, very cute.
Yes. Mikey's saying, "Don't hit me again."
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the stories of where Dad would hold Mikey over the side of the railing.
Yes, he would.
By his feet, and just for what reason? What purpose is there to do that?
Just because he could.
But I've never been a little boy, so I don't know what little boys, how they act.
Well, I was thinking making books by year, just sorting it by year. And does it cost a lot of money to make books on the computer? I mean, how do you do it? I mean, they have programs that you send away for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be really hard to catalog them if they aren't already by a certain like date, if they're clustered.
Well, I think they're sort of generally, in the same 10 to 20 year period, the way that I stacked them. I didn't let them just get
thrown in.
Then the other thing I thought it was wallpaper. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It would be cool, but what could be a little scary with those if there are more basement shots like that. I don't know if you want those on your walls.
Well, we could have the Hidden Violence series.
Yes, have the beach series, the stoop series, everybody sitting on the stoop, the laughing series.
Well, we could do it like, the Janie series and then all the stuff, from her parents and, we could just make it up.
How many series do you think there would be?
350.
That's right. You got a lot of photos.
2,542.
The list goes on and on.
So, I took a whole bunch of pictures of the Hickeys.
Well, I feel like we haven't had any physical photos in so long.
That's your grandfather.
Okay.
On their boat. The Edmund James in Buffalo Harbor.
Wow.
So handsome.
Can I have a boat series? Grandpa series?
You
probably have a lot of boat photos. So I've
do whatever the hell we want, Maggie.
I know. We'll start sketching out, brainstorming those ideas.
Yeah. Well, I think we better do it soon. Who knows how long I have left, Maggie?
Oh, gosh.
74 next month.
You just signed a new lease, didn't you? You got one more year.
So I'll be alive at least.
Don't leave it to me just yet. I can't afford it.
Be alive at least till August 1st.
Okay.
2021.
Count down the date.
If related has anything to say about it. If related rentals has anything to say about it. But wouldn't it be fun? I have the family Bible. If I hadn't gotten caught up in the hell of Apple, after a while, I think they're just making it up so they can say they tried to help you.
They're very unhelpful on the phone, I'm sure.
3 hours I was on the phone with them. When I was going to get out the family Bible. That we have to get copied and printed or something. I mean, it has all these paintings. It's from 1740.
Holy crap.
And all the wedding documents and everything were all painted, hand painted.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Well, I put, Mommy kept it wrapped up under the bed because she was afraid to touch it. You're afraid to touch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's old.
It's in the air. The minute you let the air, I'm terrified what'll happen. But I did manage. Well, I sent them to your father, so naturally you haven't seen them. But I'll send you the ones that I did take photos of. This is very pre-digital. When Dad died was 2000. You know what I'm saying? When I got all this stuff. So I got all this acid-free packing, and I packed it away, and I never look at it. You know what I mean? And put it in some kind of, probably one of those plastic vinyl boxes, which is probably eating at it, even as I'm speaking. But maybe you could come over. We could start with that.
Okay.
What to do, and maybe look up some printing service or something.
I mean, they're definitely out there. Just depends on how much
we could sell them.
Shell out.
Hickey family members.
Oh yeah. We'll put the basement photo on the front cover.
Be all that you can be. The roots.
Yeah. Join the fun.
Oh my God, I can't believe it's 4:58.
Wow.
And another
time flies when you're having fun.
podcast has passed, yes. Well, this is why I have fun in life. And this is why I wanted to have the podcast.
Yeah, this was great.
Show everyone how much fun and how great it is to be with my family and friends.
Yeah, I think everybody's gotten a really good understanding of the Hickeys. They now know everybody in our family. So
a start. There's so much more that could be said.
So much more. Talk for hours.
Yeah, because hell, you're on boyfriend number 2. I'm on husband number 2. So much left to be written.
So much left.
Well, thank you, Maggie.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so honored to be the second guest. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Yes. Well, it was great having you. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I love hearing those stories. And so stay tuned. Come back next week for more.
Till next time.
What, Maggie?
We should mention people can subscribe now on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Whoa, Spotify.
It's a big deal.
That is a big deal. I'm going to get all my friends to listen to this on Spotify now.
I'll send you the link as soon as this show up, and you can share it.
I will share it. You know I will. So
There's a lot of hickeys out there washing their hands.
I'm going to send it to the whole Hickey clan. They're going to throw us under the. They're going to, they're going to write letters of complaints.
Well, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye. See you next week.